For today. We're now joined by Kyle Busch, driver of the number 8 Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing. We'll go ahead and open it for questions. If you have one, please raise your hand and we will get a mic over to you. We'll start in the back with Dustin.
Dustin Albino, JC. Kyle, you're 36 points out of the regular season championship lead. How much are you looking at that currently with 7 races left?
I think I was looking at it about race 2 or 3. I think you always kind of try to keep a pulse on it and just kind of see what's going on. You know, 7 weeks ago we weren't looking too good, but we've made some really good headway in the last 7 weeks of being able to work our way back up the point standings and get ourselves closer to that front. You know, I was doing a point study earlier this week, and you know, we're 120 playoff points or stage points less than William Byron, and if I had half of that, I'd be leading the points by 20. You know what I mean? So we just have to be able to execute better in the stages to be able to get stage points. That's what it's going to come down to. So we know our weaknesses, and just still trying to figure that out on how to improve that and make that to where we don't have weaknesses.
Go to Tad.
Hey, Kyle, Tad Haysip with NASCAR.com. On that note, does the regular season championship impact your race strategy? Obviously, like, you're good with the wins for the playoffs, but if it gets down to a point where, like, there's a late caution and you're deciding whether to pit, how does that impact what you guys do?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've had a couple races where we haven't scored any stage points in the last couple weeks, but then we just keep fueling the car, and then we come up with the flip strategy where we're able to stay out when others pit to cycle ourselves to the lead and you know, get up to the front. So we've kind of been on the better side of that the last 2 weeks with the weather and with daylight in Chicago. But you know, you want to be up front all the time, and having that opportunity at Talladega from our win at Fontana, we were able to again stay out and push the envelope on fuel and try to go for a win and see if we could get it. And fortunately, we did. You know, we made it, we got it, and so that was definitely a help. And you know, you want. That's 5 extra bonus points over the second place guy winning the regular season deal, so that's a big deal.
We're going to come down here to Holly and then go back to Dustin.
Kyle, hi, Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. Do you feel like there's kind of already established a group of championship favorites, or do you think it's still really very much up in the air?
Yeah, I do. I would say that there's probably a consensus of probably 8 or 9 guys that are up there in that top that are championship contenders, caliber, whatever you want to say. I would say we're just barely there. You know, we're not lighting the world on fire. You know, like the 24 is super good every week. They're really fast. The 19 has been super good, really fast. So I would put those 2 guys kind of as your front runners. But you know, we're probably around the 8th or 9th spot.
We're going to go to Dustin, then to Bob, and then to Mark.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Kyle, you've talked about the struggles on some of the shorter tracks this year and trying to get better there. Does this fall into that category? And if so, what are you hoping to get out of this weekend or be able to feel or get that you haven't been able to guys get so far?
Yeah, this is a weekend where, you know, we come here not planning on, but knowing that this has been our struggle, and so it's just the shorter spoiler, the less strakes on the diffuser. So the less downforce has kind of just been our Achilles heel this year so far. So we'd love to come out of here and just have a solid run and, you know, learn and get better. And, you know, the previous events, Martinsville, we ran 25th all day. Richmond, we ran 16th all day. Phoenix, we ran 10th, 11th all day, you know. So we just need to make some gains on that and get ourselves more closer to the front with some of our other Chevrolet key partner guys that they're doing it. So no reason why we shouldn't do it.
And does a new tire here, how much does that throw the equation? Because, like I say, you struggled at Richmond and Martinsville and Phoenix, but now this is a different tire. Does that change things? And how much if you learn something, can you turn around and carry over to Richmond in 2 weeks?
Yeah. I would say that this tire being a little bit different is probably not that big a deal. Just hearing what Christopher Bell's comments were on it from when they were here doing the tire test, it doesn't seem like it's drastically different. So I don't think that's going to play a factor as big as maybe it once did earlier years. But yeah, learning something here, getting better here, just showing progress here will definitely translate over to Richmond. It'll give you a good sense of like, okay, we ran, more nose weight, we ran more right rear spring, we ran softer left front, like whatever it is, and so those things you can then just kind of pick your setup from what you had there in the spring and base some adjustments from what you learned this week to there.
We're going to go to Bob, then Mark, then Claire.
Bob Hawkers, Fox Sports. I know last year you said when you're going through this stuff that you try to put things kind of behind you during a race weekend and blinders and everything, but now that you don't have to worry about like future, when you look back to this year or look this year versus last year, is it much different as far as just how you feel at the racetrack?
Yeah, I mean, I would say having job security is always a great thing, right? So anytime you're not sure what's going on, you're always thinking about that as well as thinking about working on how to make yourself be better and your car go faster and everything like that. So, only having one of those things to think about or work on gives you double the amount of time to be able to focus on that. So, it's nice to just, be a little bit more chill, right?
We'll go to Mark and then to Claire.
Mark Garrow, PRN. Just looking ahead to next week, you won 3 of the last 8 at Pocono. Why do you seem to be so tuned in to that track, and do you enjoy the challenge of, a track that just can't be perfect all the way around?
Yeah. Well, none of us are perfect all the way around. So, the Pocono thing really started about 2014. Me and Dave finally kind of hit on something that was working for us, and then in 2015 with Adam, it really came together, and we were really fast there ever since 2015. So that was obviously with the JGR guys, and so it'd be interesting to see if it translates with me, with the RCR group, being able to go to Pocono next week with our Chevrolet and be fast. But the biggest thing to me is, I don't know, I kind of changed my driving style at the racetrack just a little bit around that same time frame, and I've kind of stuck to my guns on that. The track also was just starting to get its age because it got repaved in like 2010 or 11 or something like that. So, it's really kind of come into its own now. It's, pretty bumpy again, lost a lot of grip again. So, it lends itself to being able to widen out a little bit, which is always nice at those big high-speed flat tracks. You want to be able to find your own air, get out of the wake.
So in general, how would you describe your style or what you have that works at Pocono without giving away the secret?
You got to be good in turns 1, 2, and 3. Not great anywhere, just good.
Go ahead, Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Sorry if this has been asked. I'm literally on the air and dipping out here for the question. Can you talk about qualifying today? And this is a really tough track to qualify at, supposedly. How do you look at qualifying here?
Yeah, it's just tough because the grip level, the air pressures, all that sort of stuff and it's a really flat track. Like you're going across a very flat track on 2 inches of 10-inch tread or whatever, So the contact patch is very, very low here. There's not a lot of load to push you down into the racetrack. So you're always just trying to kind of control that slide, whether it's front slide or rear slide. But it's a challenge. It's tough. It's never really easy, but over the years, I've had good success of being able to qualify decent here. We've had some polls, a lot of top 3s, top 5 qualifying efforts as well. So it would be certainly awesome to have another one of those here today.
And how tough if you don't qualify well here, which I know you will?
Yeah, it's pretty miserable when you don't qualify good here because then you start deep in the field and it's hard to pass. And, especially this day and age with as close as competition is, it's even more difficult to pass. Your best chance of passing somebody is while you're sitting still on pit road. So, that's kind of how this place has been. Pit strategy obviously comes into play a lot, whether you take 2 and try to jump guys and hold on or whatever.
Good luck, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
We'll come down here to Terrell.
Hi, Kyle. Terrell Covey, Northeast Sports News. You touched on it with Pocono, but with the team switch and the manufacturer switch coming in this year, you've had a lot of success at this track. How much of that do you feel like can translate to this year with, the new team and manufacturer?
Yeah, just concept ideas, things that I've remembered and know from the past, and being able to do it over again and try to explain that through to the new group with Randall and the guys. But really, they've had a good sense of stuff that's been really good. So we've been working off of their stuff, my stuff, all of it, and trying to find a good happy medium of where we're able to make the most effort, make the most speed. So all that has been working really well.
Are there any further questions for Kyle? We'll go to Dustin and then in the back.
Hey, Kyle, obviously last week's race was intended to be 400 miles, but it went under 300 miles. Chicago was originally a 220-mile race, went less than that. There have been a number of others, some 300-milers here lately. You've been in this long enough where it was all about 400 or 500 miles, and the idea of shortening races, there were always a lot of concerns about it. We've got a stretch here where the number of races have ended under 300 miles. Are there any learnings or anything to take from what these races have provided, and is this something to maybe make in Atlanta or at track X a 300-miler as opposed to a 400-miler type of thing, or why or why not?
Yeah, I've kind of noticed sometimes the races are over and I'm like, damn, I didn't have a chance to get back to where I wanted to go, and it's just, it takes a while. It takes a lot longer. It's like a truck race, you go to Pocono next week and you run a stage is 12 laps long or something like that. It's like, geez, oh, criminy. But, so shorter races, yeah, I mean, it's fine. It can be done. I think it can be done successfully. I think you kind of saw maybe a little bit of rain factor last week in the racing at Atlanta, where guys were really pushing because they knew the rain was coming, so they wanted to be up front. So the aggression was high. But besides that, race distance, race length, I think if you can find a happy spot with, a TV window, then just stick to that. If it's a 3-hour window and it takes X amount of time per lap to do it, and you're going to have 8 cautions, add up that time, figure out the distance that you need and go from there, So I think to have 1, 2, or 3, maybe 4 crown jewels that have always been long-distance races as long-distance races is cool. Daytona 500, Coke 600, probably Darlington 500, you know what I mean? So those, I would say, keep those going the way they are, and maybe some of the others can be short. Yeah.
We'll go right here in the back.
Matthew Warrens with Northeast Sports News. Kyle, can you just talk about Lee last night in the Pro Stock race and the fan base over there?
Yeah, ran some late models last night over at Lee Speedway. That was a lot of fun. So I really appreciate Tom Keene and Archie and all the guys that were able to put together that car for me to be able to come out, work on it, and have some fun. So first time I've been in a super late model since I think 2019 Snowball Derby. So it's been a long time. I've got rid of all my stuff, so I don't really do that much anymore. But was able to just kind of dip my toes back in. But the fan crowd, fanfare was great. Everybody really tuned in and came out and had some fun. So enjoyed the night, and I did as well too. It was a hot box out there. It was warm, but made it through it and ready to go for this weekend here at Loudon.
Any last questions? No, you already said that. Thank you, Kyle.